My sister shared my safe house location online to prove I was overreacting. 2 hours later, the police found someone waiting outside the door. You posted what online? My voice cracked as I stared at my phone screen, blood draining from my face. Oh, relax, Victoria. It's just Instagram, my sister Natalie said, laughing like I'd told the world's funniest joke. Your whole woman in peril routine was getting embarrassing. Natalie, that's a safe house. Do you understand what that means? Please. Garrett's not dangerous. You're just being melodramatic like always. My sister posted my safe house location online to prove I was overreacting. Imbike. Today, I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. So here's the thing about having a sister who thinks she's always right. She'll burn your entire life down just to prove her point. I'm 33, work as a healthcare claims processor, and until 3 years ago, I thought I had a fairly normal family. My younger sister, Natalie, is 29, works in influencer management, and has always been the star child. Our parents, Carol and Dennis, own a successful landscaping company, and have always favored Natalie because she's bubbly and outgoing. Translation: she's loud and never admits when she's wrong. I met Garrett Mitchell 4 years ago at a medical conference fundraiser. He was a pharmaceutical sales representative. Charming, attentive, always knew exactly what to say. We got serious quickly, maybe too quickly. He moved into my townhouse after 7 months, and that's when the mask started slipping. Victoria, why didn't you text me back immediately? He'd demand. I was in a meeting, Garrett. I can't always respond instantly. A meeting with who? Was Nathan from the billing department there? It's a staff meeting. The entire team is there. This became our daily reality. He needed constant updates on my location. He'd show up at my office unannounced with lunch. My co-workers thought it was romantic at first. I knew better after the 4th time he interrogated me about why I was laughing with my colleague Christopher by the coffee station. Then the financial control started. Garrett convinced me to add him to my checking account for emergencies. Within 6 weeks, I noticed charges I didn't recognize. Expensive dinners, designer clothes, electronics I'd never seen. Are you seriously accusing me right now? He exploded when I asked about an $800 charge. I buy things for us, Victoria. Or are you too selfish to see that? The emotional manipulation was exhausting. He'd punch holes in the drywall next to my head during arguments, then break down crying and apologizing, swearing he'd never actually hurt me. The cycle repeated weekly, then daily. I started documenting everything. Photographing the damaged walls. Keeping a detailed journal of his threats and outbursts. Recording dates and times, not audio recordings, just meticulous written records. My breaking point came 8 months ago. Garrett got fired from his pharmaceutical job for harassing a female coworker. He blamed me, said I'd made him paranoid about other women. That night, he grabbed my phone and hurled it across the room, then shoved me hard into the entertainment center. I felt something snap in my ribs. You're making me do this, he screamed. Why do you always push me? I didn't push anything. I just existed, and that was enough. The next morning, while Garrett was at the gym, I grabbed my passport, birth certificate, and laptop and drove straight to the police station. I filed a report and got an emergency protective order. The officer connected me with a domestic violence advocate named Rebecca Torres, who helped me find a safe house through a local shelter program. Your location cannot be shared with anyone, Rebecca emphasized, her dark eyes serious. Not family, not friends, not on social media. This address is what keeps you alive. I understand, I whispered. The safe house was a modest 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet complex in Lakewood Heights, about 40 minutes across town. Basic furniture, a small kitchen, everything I needed to start over. Rebecca arranged for my mail to be forwarded to a P.O. box downtown. I took medical leave from work, citing health reasons, which was entirely true. I had 2 cracked ribs and bruising that painted my torso purple and yellow. I called my parents to tell them I'd left Garrett and was somewhere safe, but couldn't share details yet. My dad, Dennis, actually sounded concerned. Are you all right, sweetheart? Do you need money? Anything?
I'm okay, Dad.
I just need time. My mom, Carol's response, was different. Are you certain you're not blowing this out of proportion? Garrett always seemed so polite when we met him. Mom, he sent me to urgent care with cracked ribs. Well, relationships are complex, honey. Maybe you both need couples counseling. Classic mom. Always deflecting from uncomfortable truths. But Natalie's reaction genuinely shocked me. She called 3 days after I'd moved into the safe house. So you just abandoned him without even trying to fix things? Natalie, he assaulted me. I have cracked ribs. Okay, but what did you do to provoke him? You can be pretty cold sometimes, Victoria. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you seriously blaming me right now? I'm just saying you always play the victim. Remember when you claimed that guy Trevor was stalking you in college? That turned out to be nothing. Trevor had followed me to 4 different classes and waited outside my apartment. Campus police had to escort him away. But Natalie had convinced our parents I was exaggerating for attention. This was her pattern, dismissing my experiences to maintain her position as the golden child. I'm not having this conversation with you, I said, and hung up. Over the following weeks, I focused on healing. Rebecca checked in regularly, helped me file for a permanent restraining order, and connected me with a therapist named Dr. Lucia Fernandez. The therapy sessions helped me understand that Garrett's behavior wasn't my fault, that I hadn't provoked anything. Meanwhile, Garrett was spiraling. He'd started posting on Instagram about how I'd abandoned him during his darkest hour. He created this elaborate victim narrative, painting himself as the wronged party. Some mutual acquaintances believed him. I didn't care. I was safe, and that's what mattered. Then Natalie launched her campaign. She'd text me daily with unsolicited advice about healthy communication and the power of forgiveness. She'd send articles about couples therapy, as if therapy could fix someone who'd violently attacked me. I stopped responding, which only made her more aggressive. You're being absolutely ridiculous, Natalie texted one afternoon. Garrett came by Mom and Dad's house yesterday. He seems genuinely remorseful and really wants to work things out. My blood ran cold. He came to their house? Did they let him in? Well, yeah. He wanted to talk about you. He's really torn up about everything. I immediately called my parents. Why are you entertaining Garrett at your house? I demanded. Carol sounded defensive. He just wanted to talk, honey. He seems very apologetic. He has a restraining order. He's not supposed to contact me or my immediate family. Well, technically, he didn't contact you, Dennis interjected. He just wanted to explain his perspective. I wanted to scream. My own parents were entertaining my abuser because they couldn't handle confrontation. I documented this violation and informed Rebecca, who contacted Garrett's probation officer. He received a formal warning, and my parents got angry at me for causing problems. But Natalie took it to a whole new level. About 7 weeks into my stay at the safe house, I started noticing things. A silver Nissan Altima that seemed familiar kept appearing in the parking lot. Someone had left a note on my windshield saying, "I see you." I reported everything to Rebecca and the police, but without concrete evidence, they couldn't take action. Then one afternoon, I was collecting mail from my P.O. box when I saw Garrett's black Dodge Charger drive past, slowing down as if searching for something. My hands started shaking. He couldn't have found me randomly. The safe house was 45 minutes from my old neighborhood in a part of Lakewood Heights I'd never visited before. Someone had told him. I drove back to the apartment complex, triple-checked all my social media privacy settings, and Googled my name. That's when I found it. Natalie had posted an Instagram reel 3 days earlier showing herself visiting my sister at her adorable new place. The video showed her standing in front of the apartment complex with the building number, 4152, clearly visible behind her. She'd tagged Lakewood Heights and used hashtags like #SistersDay and #FreshStarts. The video had been up for 72 hours and had gotten over 15,000 views before I found it. My hands trembled as I stared at the image. She'd literally broadcasted my safe house location to her 48,000 followers to prove what? That I wasn't really in danger? That my concerns were overblown? I called her immediately. You posted where online? My voice cracked.
Oh, relax, Victoria.
It's just Instagram. Your whole woman in peril routine was getting embarrassing. Natalie, that's a safe house. Do you understand what that means? Please. Garrett's not dangerous. You're just being melodramatic like always. He assaulted me. He violated his restraining order, and now he knows exactly where I live because of you. Oh my God, you're so paranoid. I barely showed anything. You showed the building number and tagged the neighborhood. Are you insane? Whatever, Victoria. Maybe if you face some consequences, you'd stop making everything about yourself. She hung up on me. I immediately called Rebecca, who contacted the police. I had to emergency evacuate that night. Rebecca found me a room at a Hampton Inn while they arranged new placement. I was back to square one, terrified, constantly looking over my shoulder, jumping at every sound. But here's where Natalie's actions started catching up to her. I filed a police report about the Instagram post endangering my safety. The detective assigned to my case, Officer Daniel Martinez, was extremely interested in the fact that Natalie had deliberately compromised a protected location. "This is serious, Ms. Mitchell," Detective Martinez said, reviewing the screenshots. "Interfering with protective measures can carry significant legal consequences." I also contacted an attorney named Raymond Cooper, who specialized in family law and protective orders. Raymond explained that I could pursue a civil lawsuit against Natalie for reckless endangerment and intentional infliction of emotional distress. "Your sister's actions directly violated your safety protocol," Raymond said, adjusting his reading glasses. "The shelter program has documentation that she was explicitly instructed not to share your location. We have an exceptionally strong case. But I wanted Natalie to face social consequences first. I took screenshots of everything, her Instagram post, our text conversations where she dismissed my safety concerns, her messages defending Garrett. I compiled them into a comprehensive timeline showing her deliberate actions and their devastating consequences. Then I posted it all on Facebook, tagging mutual friends and extended family members. I wrote, "This is what happens when someone values being right over their sibling's safety." My sister posted my domestic violence safe house location on Instagram to prove I was overreacting. I had to evacuate in the middle of the night because my abuser found me. "This isn't family. This is endangerment." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Friends I hadn't spoken to in years commented their support. Natalie's own friends started questioning her judgment. Our parents' landscaping business clients saw the post. Several commented that they were horrified by the family situation. Natalie tried defending herself in the comments. "She's exaggerating everything. It was one video. She's always been so dramatic about everything." But people weren't buying it. Someone commented, "You posted a safe house location. What is wrong with you?" Another wrote, "I work in social media marketing and even I know you never share someone's address without permission, especially in a domestic violence situation. This is absolutely unforgivable." The fallout escalated rapidly. Natalie's employer, a digital marketing agency that prided itself on social responsibility, saw the post. They launched an internal investigation. How could they employ someone who'd weaponized social media to endanger a domestic violence survivor? Her professional judgment was fundamentally compromised. They terminated her employment within 5 days. "This is your fault." Natalie screamed when she called me. "You ruined my entire career." "No, you ruined your career when you posted my safe house on Instagram. Actions have consequences, Natalie. I'm your sister. You're supposed to protect me. Like you protected me when you gave Garrett my location? When you told our parents I was overreacting. You protected him, not me." She tried getting our parents to intervene, but the damage was spreading. Carol and Dennis's landscaping company started losing clients who'd seen my Facebook post and felt uncomfortable supporting a family that had enabled abuse. For major contracts, including the grounds maintenance for Willow Creek Plaza and the Oakmont Country Club, cancelled within 10 days. Not enough to bankrupt their business, but enough to make them finally pay attention. My dad called me, his voice strained and tired. "Victoria, this situation has gotten completely out of hand. Can't we all just move forward?" "Move forward?" I repeated incredulously. "Dad, Natalie put my life in danger. Mom told me I provoked my own assault. You both let Garrett into your house despite the restraining order. What exactly should we move forward from?" "We are family. Family doesn't endanger each other to win an argument. Family doesn't defend abusers. Family doesn't victim blame." My mom tried a different approach, sending lengthy text messages about forgiveness and healing. "We all make mistakes, honey. Natalie feels absolutely terrible about everything. Can't you find it in your heart to let this go?" "Did Natalie actually apologize?" I asked. There was a long pause before Mom responded. "Well, she's been through so much lately with losing her job. That's not an apology. That's an excuse. She hasn't once said she was wrong or that she's sorry. She just wants me to make her consequences disappear." Raymond moved forward with the civil lawsuit. During the discovery process, we learned something that made my blood run cold. Natalie had actually visited the safe house twice before posting that Instagram reel. She'd taken multiple photos and videos, deliberately selecting which ones would get the best engagement numbers. She'd known exactly what she was doing. The evidence was damning. Text messages between Natalie and Garrett showed she'd been feeding him information about me for weeks. Not my location initially, but details about my mental state, my therapy appointments, my daily routines. She'd been his informant. All because she thought I was being dramatic. When confronted with this evidence during her deposition, Natalie finally broke down. "I just wanted everyone to see she was perfectly fine," she sobbed. She was ruining family dinners with all this drama about Garrett. He seemed genuinely sorry, and she wouldn't even consider talking to him. "So you endangered your sister's life to make family dinners more comfortable?" Raymond asked calmly. I didn't think he'd actually do anything. I thought if Victoria saw he knew where she was and nothing happened, she'd realize she was overreacting. There it was. She deliberately led my abuser to my safe house as some twisted social experiment to prove her point. The judge was not impressed. The civil lawsuit resulted in a substantial judgment against Natalie, $72,000 for emotional distress, my relocation costs, increased security measures, and legal fees. She didn't have that kind of money after losing her job, so she had to sell her Honda CR-V and move back in with our parents. Her social media presence, her entire career foundation, was destroyed. Nobody would hire someone who'd weaponized Instagram to endanger a domestic violence survivor. Garrett, meanwhile, faced his own reckoning. The restraining order violations, combined with evidence that he'd been stalking me, resulted in actual jail time. Garrett received 16 months in county jail. Not years, but enough to make him understand that actions have consequences. His family, who'd always defended him and made excuses for his behavior, finally saw him for what he truly was when the judge detailed his pattern of abuse, manipulation, and stalking during sentencing. His mother actually apologized to me in the courthouse hallway, tears streaming down her face. As for me, I'm in a new safe location that absolutely nobody in my family knows about. The address doesn't exist in any records they could access. I returned to work after 4 months, and my employer's response genuinely surprised me. They'd actually promoted me during my medical leave, making me a claims department supervisor with a significant raise. "Your attention to detail and documentation skills are exceptional," my manager said during my welcome back meeting. "We want you leading the team." Rebecca helped me connect with other survivors who'd experienced similar family betrayals. There was an entire support group of women whose families had endangered them, dismissed them, or sided with their abusers. Knowing I wasn't alone helped tremendously. Dr. Fernandez continued working with me on establishing boundaries and recognizing that my family's dysfunction wasn't my responsibility to fix. She helped me understand that choosing myself wasn't selfish, it was survival. I haven't spoken to Natalie in 19 months. She sends occasional texts, never apologizing, just complaining about how difficult her life is now. She's working as a barista at a Starbucks, still living with our parents, still playing the victim. I don't respond. She made her choices, and I'm not responsible for the natural consequences of her actions. My parents try maintaining contact, but it's superficial. They want the appearance of a happy family without doing the actual work of accountability. Dennis still makes excuses for Natalie, saying she made a mistake. Carol wants me to attend family events to support your sister through this difficult time. I declined their last Thanksgiving invitation with a simple text, "I'm supporting myself through my difficult time, the one your daughter created." Maybe focus on why she thought endangering me was acceptable. They didn't respond. The truth is uncomfortable, and they've never been good with discomfort. I'm rebuilding my life on my terms now. I have friends who actually support me, a career that values my abilities, and a therapist who helps me process everything. I'm even dating again, slowly, carefully, with clear boundaries and acute awareness of red flags. I'm learning that being alone is infinitely better than being with people who hurt you. Natalie's current situation is entirely her own making. She lost her career, her independence, and her reputation because she valued winning an argument over her sister's safety. She chose to prove a point instead of protecting family. Those consequences aren't punishment I'm inflicting. They're the natural results of her choices. Sometimes people ask if I'll ever reconcile with my family. The answer is no. Reconciliation requires genuine accountability, and they're not capable of that. They want me to forget what happened so they can feel better about themselves. But I remember everything, and I refuse to set myself on fire to keep them warm. I'm not the victim anymore. I'm the survivor who refused to let toxic people define my worth. Last month, I got certified as a peer advocate through the Domestic Violence Prevention Program. I now volunteer twice a week, helping other survivors navigate the system that once seemed so overwhelming to me. When I meet women whose families don't believe them, who are being pressured to give him another chance, who are being told they're overreacting, I see myself 3 years ago. And I tell them, your safety matters more than anyone's comfort. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're surviving. Rebecca told me I'm one of the best advocates she's ever worked with because I understand both the system and the emotional manipulation that keeps women trapped. My new apartment is on the 3rd floor of a secure building with a doorman. I have plants on my balcony, succulents and herbs that I actually remember to water. I adopted a cat from the shelter, an orange tabby named Biscuit, who greets me at the door every evening. These small, ordinary things feel revolutionary after years of walking on eggshells. I've started saving money for the first time in my life. Garrett had drained my accounts, but now I'm rebuilding. I have an emergency fund. I'm contributing to my 401k. I'm planning a trip to Seattle next spring with some friends from work. Sometimes I still have nightmares. Garrett breaking down my door. Natalie posting my address. Being trapped with no way out. Dr. Fernandez says this is normal, that trauma doesn't disappear overnight. But the nightmares are becoming less frequent. I saw Carol at the grocery store 2 weeks ago. She pretended not to see me, turning her cart down a different aisle. I felt nothing. Not sadness, not anger, just nothing. That's how I know I'm healing. Natalie tried reaching out last month through a friend, asking if we could meet for coffee to talk things through. I declined through the same friend. There's nothing to talk through. She endangered my life to prove a point, showed no remorse, and has never once genuinely apologized. Some bridges, once burned, should stay burned. The final court hearing for Garrett's case was last week. He received an additional restraining order that extends for 5 years. As he was led out of the courtroom, he looked at me with what I can only describe as entitlement, like I'd somehow wronged him by pressing charges, by refusing to disappear quietly. I held his gaze until he looked away. I've learned that protecting yourself isn't selfish. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. Refusing to accept abuse isn't dramatic. It's survival. If your family member deliberately exposed your safe location to prove you were exaggerating, would you ever be able to trust them again? I know my answer. It's the same answer that lets me sleep at night, that lets me build this new life, that lets me look in the mirror without shame. No. And I'm finally okay with that.